Lisa and I are partners in the MTSS, and we'll tell you a little bit about that. We each have our own businesses and collaborate on the MTSS in our mission to green up the media tech sector, not just the AV sector, but also the broadcast sector. So, Lisa, you want to introduce yourself first?
Yeah.
And
So,
then I'll
So I'm Lisa Collins, Managing Director of Dovetail Creative, and as Barbara said, we formed MTSS 2 years ago, nearly 3 years ago now. And my passion is really about encouraging people to come on this sustainability journey with us. So that's a bit about me, and we'll talk more about MTSS shortly, won't we?
Yeah, and my name is Barbara Lang, and I run my own consultancy in sustainability called Kaiba 121, which I've been doing for about, 3 years, and really helping the broadcast and media tech sectors to get on their paths and really progress in sustainability. And so we're delighted today to have this panel to talk about sort of greening the AV industry, high level, but also with a very important and elegant case study too. So we're delighted to have Leila and Pia-Rita with us today. So should we do some intros and then we can dive in? So Leila, why don't you introduce yourself, please?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Sustainability is a good topic, and it's close to my heart. So I'm Leila Hede Jensen. I'm from Copenhagen. I've been in the industry about 20 years. I am the CEO of Sonova, a management executive company that works in M&As, merger and acquisitions, and business transformation.
Great. And Pia-Rita?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you. My name is Pia-Rita Bergman, and I work as a CEO of Genelec. We are a loudspeaker manufacturer based in Finland.
Brilliant. And I don't know about you, Barbara, but everything we do with MTSS, it's all about showcasing the work that others are doing, sharing of best practice and benchmarking. So it's brilliant to be on the stage here and today to be able to have these conversations. That's
right. And so we thought that we would start today with a little conversation that Leila and I will have, sort of big picture, sort of a business approach. Leila's background is also in mergers and acquisitions, so we're curious to see what the investor community is thinking about when it comes to sustainability action in the AV. And then we're going to switch over, and Lisa and Pia-Rita will have a conversation about the good work that Genelec is doing, and we'll hopefully have some time for some Q&A at the end as well. How does that sound to everyone?
Okay, kick it off, Barbara.
Okay, so we want to make sure that we leave you with a few takeaways. So one of the things we'll do at the very end is sort of leave with some inspiring words, because it's important that you can take this conversation and sort of digest it and then implement some things at your places of business. So Leila and I have been communicating about our conversation, and maybe we'll start with sort of the lay of the land in terms of sort of let's help orient the audience on regulations and sort of what does that look like just at the highest level, if you would.
Yeah, of course. I think it's important to say that the regulation, it forces us for the first time to implement sustainability in our overall strategies, our day-to-day decision making. Because before that, it was just a choice. You can do it or you can't, but now the regulation is actually forcing us to implement it. And it just changes the landscape. It's been easy to have, to claim as a company, sustainability. It could be greenwashing because some companies have not backed it up by facts and figures. Right. And by having the regulations, that will force us into doing that. Yeah. So we don't see the greenwashing that much, and I appreciate that. Yeah. So you have to report it. Yeah.
I'm sorry, and even the regulations in Europe are around greenwashing as well. So if you are caught greenwashing, you could also be penalized for that. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Let me ask this because in this literally day and age of geopolitics, do you have any thoughts on, as a global industry, the AV being a global industry, how does that fit into, are you at all worried about some stalling of sustainability efforts because of the change in leadership, for example, in the United States?
On the M&A side, it can make it makes a difference because the market is pausing a little bit because we're waiting. We're a bit in a limbo. We're waiting for what's the next thing's going to happen. But with sustainability, we have to put it to the agenda. We have to start doing KPIs on executive levels to drive the business that way. Because you don't see the impact now, you will see the impact for the greater good in the future. But you still have to put it to agenda. And that's the difference that we have to start making now in order to achieve what we need to do.
And we already know that public-facing companies who have investors, you will see them on the show floor here even, are very visual about their ESG commitments and things like that, right? So that's already the sign that they're not stopping that effort.
Correct.
Yeah?
And when you look at the bigger companies like Cisco and HP, they're adding ESG matrix into their partner programs, into their RFQs. So when you have those matrix, that means it's the way to force it into the business, which I like. And they have to be the first movers because they are the businesses that sets the standards. And that's where we need to be.
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit. So I've always believed that the supply chain management aspect has the most influence for change, right? So how is it that a Cisco, HP, any
Salesforce.
big brand, Salesforce, how can they affect that in their supply chain management?
The way to affect it is to set in the policies and force it on their vendors to have the policies. Mm-hmm. That's the way
That's how
it
they
works.
get the business then.
That's how they get the business. But also, if you look at the other way, every company should have an ESG strategy on the environmental, the social, and the government. And the government is the cybersecurity, so we cannot leave that out either. But you have to look, where is the incentive? Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things I wanted you guys in the audience to take back with you, is what incentive should I have to start driving sustainability in my company? And one of them is 57% in organizations uses the matrix in their RFPs. 57. Mm-hmm. That's quite a lot. Mm-hmm. So you win more businesses. Yeah. So by having the ESG matrix and applying by the regulations, you will win more business, which is very important. You will attract new talent. Generation Z are entering the workplace. They're seeking employment that are responsible. They want organizations that are focused on ethical brands when they're shopping. So they demonstrate the power of buying. And that's why we need to look at that and understand that. So attract new talent. That when you have a sustainability profile, they want to work for you. Yeah. And when you're selling to them, they want to buy from you. So we have to keep that in mind. Competitive advantage. That's one thing where you can differentiate yourself. Customers are also buying via this. So it might have been the differentiation towards your competitors that you've been missing. Lower your cost. Mm-hmm. That is something, you could be compliant, improve your processes, be more productive, be more efficient, and increase the value of your business. 79% of investors, we talked about that earlier, says the way a company manages ESG risks and the opportunity when they do a due diligence and figure it out is a very important factor in their investment decisions. 79%, that's almost 80% of investors. So when you do a due diligence, it's not only the numbers. They will also look at the profile that you have and what are you doing to make it a bit greater good. Right. And you will help the planet. Yeah. So it's not just only about that, it's for the greater good.
Right, right. Despite all of those seemingly easy steps, there are challenges, right? So could you outline a few of the challenges that you see that might prohibit, especially a small to medium-sized organization that doesn't have the resources of a large organization? What are the challenges that you see that might be prohibiting people from taking these steps?
The challenge is we're too busy. We're too busy in our day-to-day life. Oh, we don't have enough resources, I don't have enough time. So it goes low in the priority list. Yeah. So that's why I keep saying put it on the agenda. That also means make it a priority. When it's a law and it's regulations, then that forces us to do that. But start in the small things. It doesn't have to be, start tracking everything you do, because that's what the CSRD is. Start, and then track from here, and then measure the progress. Right. That's all we need to do.
That's right. Yeah.
And then that's the law from that. But it doesn't require a sophisticated app. Just use an Excel sheet. Just start putting your measurements in, and you will understand where in your business you could become better. Is it the carbon emission? Is it the energy consumption? Or is it costs? Just take the KPIs that you want to have. Start going single-use free, plastic single-use free in the office. Yeah. Yeah. Switching to a renewable energy supplier. It's just a flick of a button. You can just change it. Implement a life cycle management tool. measure it. Those little small things can make an effort. Your business travel, analyze it, and implement a sustainability policy in the office. Take the train, stop flying, all these small little things. Just start small, and then figure out the strategy on the way as you go. Build the road as you walk it, but build it.
That's right.
Yeah.
As they say, every journey starts with a single step, right? So
Correct,
this is a way to do that. And
but also the reuse and repair.
Yeah.
Because I think we've talked about that a lot. Sorry to interrupt you, but
no, it's okay.
Start using that, because instead of throwing things out, repair it and reuse it.
That's right.
And if you want to give back to the industry as well, if you have some stock from if the screens at your customers are out of warranty or anything else, just give it to someone else.
Yeah.
And then someone else will use it, repair it, and then it goes through the life cycle and in the environment.
Yeah, it seems to me that there's also a lot of opportunity that's out there that doesn't exist at the moment, really, and things like recycling and repurposing.
Yes.
I mean, there's a whole nother opportunity for somebody who's clever and can do that. And so because e-waste is a significant contributor to our planet in a bad way, and we need to be able to consume what we need to consume, but also do the responsible recycling and
I agree. And also making the agreement with your customers as an integrator, for example, that when you tear down an LED screen, there are many different components in it. You have to give it in the proper way, in the proper channels, and make that part of your project, for sure. Yeah.
One last question before we hand it over to our colleagues, and that is, so future trends. How do you've already outlined a number of different tips, and if you're coming back to ISE next year or maybe in 2-3 years' time, what do you expect to see as this industry evolves in its own journey on sustainability pathway? What would you say?
I've thought about 3 things. One of them is AI. It's one of the biggest trends. How many in this audience are using AI today? Put your hand up. Right. That's pretty significant, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's disrupting it, maybe it's not, maybe we're learning how to do it easier. But on the sustainability part, have you thought about how much data it uses? So this is enormous amount of data. So one thing when you go back, you need to remember, how do we get the green hosting in for all the AI data storages? We have to do that because there's a large amount of data, someone has to handle it, the power consumption of these servers is enormous. And it's a lot of effort migrating to another hosting service company. But again, back to the agenda, execute on it, get it done. So AI is one of them, for sure. So the green software as well. We've been talking about that, but it's a big decision, because you need to go into the development stages. You need to go earlier in the cycle.
That's right.
And it requires a lot of investment from a company to change the development of the product when it's software. But it's necessary. So we need to start making the right decisions. Instead of just thinking, I'll do it next year, But the earlier we start, the faster we see the progress.
And as you pointed out, as you integrate this concept of sustainability into the strategy of the organization, it becomes normal, natural, it's not extra, and so every business decision that's made also has not only I'll say dollar view, but also a financial view. It also has a sustainability view. Very important.
But it's a core value.
And it should be a core value. Absolutely.
Making a better world.
Super.
For our kids, for the future.
Exactly.
So it should be important for everyone.
Super. Thank you, Leila, for that insight. And we'll hand it over to Lisa and Pia-Rita to talk about Genelec, and then we'll come back for some closing comments.
Thank you. And it was great that you set the scene there with so many of the buzzwords that we're going to bring to life in this case study. And I'm super pleased to have Pia-Rita from Genelec here with us, because Genelec's one of those organisations that I personally admire. I've seen your journey. I know that you've been out there winning various awards for your ESG reporting and your policies and your practices. But sustainability for Genelec isn't just an add-on, is it? It's really core to your business strategy. Can you share with the audience, how you've made it core to that business strategy?
For us, it's actually been in the core from the very beginning of the company, from 1978. It was the way of life for our founders and the way of running the company from the very beginning. Sustainability is part of the strategy, but it's also part of the everyday actions that we do. We keep on continuously developing areas within sustainability within our company.
And do you think because it was there from the very start and embedded from the start, you know, that journey has been smoother than perhaps some people in the audience that are just starting their sustainability journey?
That might be it, because it's been all the way from the very beginning of the company.
And it's always been led by your leaders. You've got a fantastic CEO in Simak there who really does pioneer sustainability in the organisation. How does that have an effect in terms of your product innovation and the culture within the organisation?
Yeah, it's really part of the leadership actually, and our managing director has stated that the sustainability is as important as the sound quality and profitability. So it's one of the key pillars in our leadership. We encourage in our daily life, we encourage the teams to innovate and take initiatives within the sustainability. We've already for a long time, we've had a cross-functional sustainability team that is leading the actions, cooperating the projects. So we communicate about the sustainability within our organization. So it's really rooted into the leadership of our company. In so many different ways, in practical ways.
Every time I speak to Simak, he inspires me, and I know you've got your team here supporting you in the audience today, so it's great to see the Genelec badges out there. So, and in terms of sustainability in AV, it's often associated more so with energy efficiency, but Genelec takes a more kind of holistic approach. Can you talk about how the circular economy principles shape your very own product designs?
Yeah. For us, we are a loudspeaker manufacturer, so in the core of our sustainability is the long product with the long lifetime, with the durable, reliable product. So a product that can be reused or repaired if something happens. So we think that it's really one of the core things. So in a choice of material, in a choice of components, and working together with the suppliers and in our own operations, all of these aspects, we look at the sustainability throughout everything.
Yeah, brilliant. And can you talk us through maybe a little bit deeper some of those product innovations and the longevity that goes into the product design?
Yeah, it already started actually with the very first product at 1976. We did the cooperation with the Finnish national broadcaster YLE, and they asked for a product that would have a long lifetime. And that's where it all started. We ever since that's like set the benchmark for our products, how they should be designed. And even today, actually, S30 is the first product, so they've been used somewhere. And as a part of product design, the design for sustainability starts from the very beginning. It's optimizing everything. It's really looking at the whole product and how that sustainability can be part of it. We can take some examples. For instance, we've implemented one feature is ISS, Intelligent Signal Sensing, which is basically sensing if there is no audio signal and the product, then the energy consumption goes down. In our smart IP product range, we have the PoE Plus, which is the Power over Ethernet solution, only one cable for power, audio, and control. And that also for the user, you can use the existing network of your building and you don't need extra cables or equipment. That's also sustainable. One more aspect is the use of our enclosure material. We've already for a long time used recycled aluminium in our cabinet materials. If you think of the recycled aluminium, it's a very good versatile material, and many of our products uses is 97% of the aluminium that we use is recycled. And it's a very good material also from that point of view that it can nearly endlessly be recycled. And the source of the recycled aluminium is, for instance, soft drink cans. So it's really a material where the recycling comes into the picture. So those are some of the examples of that.
And the guys that are working on that product innovation, how are they educating themselves in terms of, you know, those materials that you can use in products these days? I know you can use mushrooms, potatoes, all of those sorts of things, but how are they keeping up to date with what's possible?
Yeah, it's actually a lot of, we have a very strong R&D, so it's a lot of research and innovation. And in our company culture, we really encourage this kind of research work, looking around different things. Where can we find more solutions for that?
Yeah, no, that's really...
So it's a really intensive work.
Yeah, no, it's great to hear, definitely. And in terms, many companies do struggle with that balancing act of balancing performance over cost. How has Genelec managed to create these great products and meet the high-end AV requirements while staying true to your own sustainability goals?
Well, we think that performance, sustainability, they go hand in hand. Yeah. So when designing a product that meets customer demand, it also can be sustainable. Sustainability is not an add-on, it's designed in there. Of course, cost is also very important, but if you have a product with a long lifetime, the cost of ownership during those years, it becomes quite reasonable. And sustainability is not an add-on, it's been built into the product. So in that sense, everything comes together quite well.
And taking that on a step, and Barbara and Leila talked about recycling and reusing. Talk to us about some of the things that you've been doing there at Genelec to help with that.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention is the repairability of the product. It was also mentioned that how important it is that we do commit, we provide service, we provide spare parts to our products. We provide spare parts even longer than the actual warranty time and even longer than the product if the product is not anymore in production. So it's really commitment to be able to repair the product. One example that we've recently implemented is we have an own web shop which is now available in Finland. It started now in Finland for pre-owned Genelec products. So somebody has already used the product, we get it back to the factory, we inspect it, we recalibrate, and then we provide it available for sale for some new customers to acquire. So that's the reuse of the product that's already been once used.
Yeah, I love that. It's the vintage of the audio market, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And do you see that growing?
Yeah, we are actually at the moment looking also ourselves how to expand that to other areas and other markets. We currently have the products mainly for the consumer market and in Finland at the moment.
And we're focused a lot there on products, but Genelec has amazing facilities. Talk us through your premises and what they offer in terms of sustainability.
Yeah, we are a manufacturer. We are a speaker manufacturer. We have factory in Finland, where we also have in Eastern Finland, in Iisalmi, and also we have a head office there. We've taken a lot of different actions, practical actions, in order to increase the sustainability of our own operations. We, for instance, implemented the solar panel system on the roof of our factory, which is at peak hours. It's providing 30% of our electricity used in our factory and head office. We are also using non-fossil energy for the rest of the energy that we need at the factory. We have looked at the product packing, for instance, packaging, how that could be optimized from the sustainability point of view when we pack our products. We are using plastic bags inside of the carton boxes, but those plastic bags do have circulated plastic in the material. And one thing which is in manufacturing, it's a long chain from the supplier to manufacturer and then onwards. There is a lot of transportation in the global business included. So we are also working with our transportation or the logistic partners in order to find more sustainable operation in that as well. So it's a lot of different smaller things and bigger things that we are looking at.
Yeah, I know Leila brought up a point, about bringing in that talent. Do you think having those facilities improves your workforce life and it really attracts new people to want to come and work for Genelec?
Yes, I do think so. And when thinking about when we invite people to make innovative proposals or initiatives around the sustainability topic, so it's like a common action for the whole company and the working community in order to find the new ways to work on that topic.
Yeah,
so
great.
it does.
And you mentioned there about suppliers and transportation. How important is it for your own policies in terms of those partnerships that you're creating with your suppliers? How do you ensure that it's really going down to the full supply chain that you're working with?
Yeah, I think it is very important. One of the key things in the sustainability for us is also working in the network, working together. So what we are doing, we are working with the ISO 20400 Sustainable Procurement Guideline. Mm-hmm. So within that context, we are working with our suppliers in order to work with the different topics with that guide. That's a good guideline for that. We also have our own supplier code of conduct, which also states the things that are important for us and what we request from our suppliers also. And we also do supplier evaluation from the sustainability point of view. So we have a lot of different practical actions together with the partners that we work with.
Yeah, and turning that on its head, and Leila talked about your customers, and now, RFPs are asking about sustainability. Because you are that great organisation that's, way ahead on their sustainability journey, do you believe that more customers are coming to you as a result?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah. And we're seeing customers' interest also in this area. They're asking questions from us. So I think that's a sign that everyone is getting more involved in the topic.
Absolutely. What advice would you give our audience that are looking to integrate more sustainable practices into their everyday?
I had a few things that I was thinking, many of course things, but I think it's good to find a framework, like it was mentioned, certificates or some guidelines, what you can then rely on and what you can take the practices from. Then I think it's very important to build and cultivate the company culture around the sustainability. So when you encourage your people to gain more competencies in the area, learn, benchmark other companies, share best practices, all that, how it's involved in the company culture, that's very important. Then of course, as also mentioned already, the metrics. So find a metric that makes sense, do the continuous development actions, measure, and then improve again. Yeah. So I think the practical actions do matter.
Most definitely. And you've talked about sharing best practice, and I know you'd be happy to talk to anybody in the audience about anything that they may have questions on. So. Yeah. And finally, we wanted to bring this to life, and we're going to show a video clip shortly. Tell us a little bit about what we're going to see.
Yeah, that's a video that we made. It's a lot of different kind of things we've done in this sustainability, and we want to share our story to inspire other people to continue working and taking the steps in this area.
Great. Well, hopefully we're going to see that video right now, if the team can press play. Hopefully it's coming.
We're not doing it as a play, if you're expecting that. That would be fun, by the way.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah. As Genelec turns 45 years old, we'd like to take a look at something that's been a part of our story from the very beginning and is as important to us as audio quality: sustainability. I'm Darren Rose, Senior Electronic Designer with Genelec for the last 20 plus years, and I'd like to share with you some of the key sustainability issues from my point of view in the research and development team in Iisalmi, Finland. We in R&D design our loudspeakers as well as we can, taking the time to make sure that the design is mature before releasing it. We don't underspecify components or push anything too hard. We design and test for quality and reliability, and redesign until we're satisfied. Then we get the safety and EMC performance certified by a third party. Our production lines are carefully considered and our people are well trained. We test and calibrate 100% of our loudspeakers. Our entire operation is looking to improve constantly. This all results in long-lasting, reliable tools, great for demanding users and for the environment. Our loudspeakers have a 2-year parts and labour warranty that can be extended to 5 years with free registration. To further extend the life of Genelec loudspeakers, we offer great customer support and service. We stock spare parts and modules for years after discontinuation of a model, and we can, and often do, service and repair loudspeakers that are over 40 years old, so that they're still fit for use. We've piloted the sales of certified pre-owned Genelecs, and we aim to launch a developed version of this to implement circular economy principles. According to a study that we commissioned, most of the carbon emissions of a Genelec loudspeaker are from its use, not its manufacture. This is hardly surprising, given their long life. To reduce energy consumption in use, our loudspeakers have the ISS intelligent signal sensing function that puts them into standby mode when they've not received an input audio signal for some time. And this will save around 15 watts per 8341A loudspeaker, for example. Another significant design feature that radically lowers consumption is the use of switch mode Class D amplifiers in almost all models. These are 3 times as efficient as traditional linear Class AB amplifiers at normal listening levels. Most of our beautiful and functional loudspeaker enclosures are cast from aluminium. In 2020, 97% of that was recycled material, requiring just 5% of the energy to produce compared to primary aluminium. It can, of course, eventually be recycled again when the loudspeaker reaches the end of its life cycle, as can other major parts of the loudspeaker and packaging. Our loudspeakers are designed and manufactured in picturesque Iisalmi in Finland. Here, in our sparsely populated area, we don't spend time in traffic jams getting to work, and our lakeside location reminds us daily of the environment that we live in. Having our manufacturing in the same building as our design team not only guarantees a good connection and fast support for high-quality production, but eliminates the need for extensive travel during production ramp-up and change processes. Finnish legislation makes sure that we work cleanly and healthily, with minimized effect on the environment and equality for all people. Carbon emissions are reduced during the manufacturing stage with a careful choice of our source of electricity. The factory roof is covered with solar panels that produce 10 to 15% of our power needs. Genelec complies with relevant legislation, including the Restriction of Hazardous Substances and REACH directives in the EU. Our quality system is ISO 9001 certified, and our environmental management system is certified to ISO 14001. Our sustainability team meets weekly and is constantly learning and helping to shape the company. We hope you enjoyed this quick video highlighting a few key sustainability issues at Genelec. And if you'd like more information, please see genelec.com/sustainability.
Fabulous.
That's great.
Now I could work in that office
was just gonna
every
say.
single day.
Can I come?
Thank you, Pia-Rita. That was brilliant.
Yeah. I think that is a perfect example of sort of what Leila was talking about in terms of, it can work. It often feels very daunting to say we have to make these changes, and change is hard. But here's an organization. Of course, you've been doing it since 1976, which is a long time before many of us understood that this was an issue. Many of us, well, I was born by then, but anyway. But it still is doable to transition to that state of mind, right? And really. Also having a good business opportunity too.
Absolutely.
I think we can't forget that business has to continue, right? Yeah.
Can I give one thing before?
Yeah,
we leave?
sure.
I did a lot of research before this panel. Spent a lot of hours on this, and I wanted to make sure that you have somewhere that you can go to and have a little thing that you can read up on the internet. So there's a free training on the Carbon Trust website that can help you and your employees to understand the little things that they can do to make a substantial difference. Right. And the advice I wanted to give as well as you, because you were very operational, which is great, but in order to make a change from the top down, is to put the KPIs on the executive level and and incentivize it that way. And then it goes through the organization, because then you drive the business sustainability, because the goals they need to reach is sustainability goals. And when you have a target that is sustainable and you get a bonus by achieving it, you do everything you can to make it, even on the top level. And thank you for making a difference.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed this. I've learned a lot today.
Yeah, it's great. We're almost to the very end, but if anybody has a burning question, we're happy to. Oh, yes, there's one. Yay.
Fantastic panel.
Oh, great.
This is the first time I think I've had a panel that has actually talked about the realities of sustainability. So really well.
Here's a mic coming, if you don't mind. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I know everyone hates being the something of something, and I'd made a note here, the Patagonia of AV, but I think we need to switch that round and say the Patagonia of the Genelec of clothing. I think
Right.
from what I've just heard.
Right.
So it's fantastic. Getting to the question, we talked about regulations sort of forcing people down the track, and then we have the likes of Genelec. Quite a distance away, I think, in reality. What do you think as a panel in terms of what is the gap between what regulations will push people to do, and to your point, Leila, about got to get started somewhere. So reg is a good opportunity to do that. But what is the gap, do you think, between what regulations will achieve versus what someone like Genelec have achieved?
Speaking from the United States, I think the issue there is, yes, there is a movement of predominantly young people who are really pushing the sustainability message. But the matter of fact in the US is it's a capitalistic society, and so we have to follow where the money is. And so why the investor community is super important in the US, the consumers need to be educated first, and then they will demand more. So I think that will drive business to make those changes. It's not going to, in the United States, it's not going to happen on regulation, at least not for the next 4 years in any case. So we have to find other motivations and incentives. I do think that regulations are a very good first step, and as I mentioned before, supply chain it forces, if people want to do business with customers, then supply chain management and really pushing the sustainability message to those suppliers is also pretty significant, I would think.
I fully agree, but I think it's the mindset, actually, because the gap is the mindset. And it's starting from scratch, because you did that very early stage on, in the development, in the mindset of the employees. So like every decision you make has to be based on ESG if you have the strategy. And it has to be based on sustainability. Yeah, so I think that's the gap. If we need to put, rules and regulations, it will force the companies that doesn't give a shit. Pardon my French.
Yeah.
And I like that. Yeah. But the mindset for the whole supply, for the whole company, is what's necessary, and that's what will drive it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with both of you, actually. Nothing to add.
I think, when we talk about ESG and sustainability, we think about the environmental factors top of agenda. And that is where regulations come in. But if companies don't change internally and think about the human part and the human sustainability, they're not going to have a business because they won't be bringing in the new talent. That new talent wants to work for a Genelec type of company. That's who they want to be working with in a completely different way. So I think culture will drive way ahead of the regulations. That's my personal view.
And it's a core value. Sustainability is something that you feel in your tummy, and money is something else. You can always get that. But helping the planet, you can't get that by others, and that's why it's a great thing working for a company. That would make me want to work for a company like that, because it's a core value of mine that will be fulfilled.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to close this panel. I want to thank Leila and Pia-Rita for joining Lisa and me. I guess maybe, and let's give them a round of applause. Yes. Thank you. And one small little plug for the MTSS, which is an organization that Lisa and I co-founded to help educate for free, make it super accessible, all things around sustainability in the media tech sector.
We've got a great website, and we charge for nothing.
And we charge for nothing. Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you, you two.
Thank you.
Thank you.